Hello, it's Sarah from Don't Lie to Me. Yesterday, on August 5th, 2026, an 8,800-pound SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket booster slammed into the moon at 5,400 miles per hour. It was 45 feet long. It hit with the force of nearly 3 tons of TNT. NASA estimates it carved a crater 100 feet wide and 16 feet deep into the lunar surface. This rocket had been drifting off course for 19 months. Nobody stopped it. Nobody could. It just drifted into the moon. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Because on the exact same day, something else happened. Perez Hilton, the celebrity blogger, had a personal crisis on TikTok Live. Police and an ambulance showed up at his house in Miami, and the media lost their minds. TMZ ran 4 separate articles in 6 hours. The New York Times put it on their front page. The Washington Post, CNN, Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, the LA Times, The Guardian, Forbes, all of them wall-to-wall Perez Hilton coverage. The SpaceX moon crash, NPR covered it in their science section. CNN mentioned it in their science section. It was bumped from the news cycle within hours. An 8,800-pound rocket hit the moon, the biggest space debris story in years. And the media decided you should care more about a celebrity blogger. Now you might be thinking, okay, Sarah, the media has bad priorities. That's not new. But this isn't about one bad news day. This is about a pattern. SpaceX has been trashing space, trashing the atmosphere, and dropping debris on people's property for years, and nobody is holding them accountable. In February 2025, a Falcon 9 second stage came crashing down over populated Europe. A fireball was seen across Germany and Poland. Debris slammed into the ground right next to a warehouse in western Poland, damaging electrical equipment and a concrete block. The Polish Space Agency had to fire officials over the incident. SpaceX said there were, quote, no toxic materials. They crashed a rocket on someone's property in a populated area of Europe, and they said no toxic materials. In 2024, a farmer in Saskatchewan, Canada, named Barry Sawchuk, found a 90-pound, 7-foot-wide piece of scorched metal in his wheat field. It was SpaceX Dragon trunk debris. 7 pieces total were found across Canadian farmland. A University of Regina astronomer said it would have been, quote, much more serious if it landed in an urban area. Much more serious. As in, it could have killed someone. Then they found a second piece from a Starlink satellite. SpaceX had been telling everyone their satellites, quote, fully demise on re-entry. They burn up completely. They don't. A 2.5-kilogram aluminum chunk from a Starlink satellite was found on another Saskatchewan farm. An astronomer named Samantha Lawler proved that satellite debris survives re-entry and can reach the ground. SpaceX had been lying. But it gets worse. In February 2026, scientists detected a lithium plume in the upper atmosphere. It came from a burning SpaceX Falcon 9 stage. This was the first real-time measurement of chemical pollution from a re-entering rocket. A study from University College London found that satellite pollution is rapidly accumulating in the upper atmosphere. Aluminum oxide nanoparticles from burning satellites are threatening the ozone layer. SpaceX is burning 260 satellites in the atmosphere every 6 months. Each one is 2,700 pounds of aluminum and electronics. They call it disposal. I call it raining toxic ash on the planet. Now, you'd think there would be regulators all over this. You'd think the government would step in. Think again. The FCC gave SpaceX a categorical exclusion from environmental review. They don't have to do an environmental impact assessment. For 10,000 satellites, Scientific American published an article saying the FCC's approval may have been unlawful. A federal court ruled in July 2025 that the FCC can launch thousands of satellites without any environmental review. The court said the categorical exclusion applies, so SpaceX gets to trash the atmosphere with zero oversight. Meanwhile, the FAA, the government's own aviation agency, told Congress that by 2035, Starlink debris alone will kill or injure someone every 2 years. They projected 0.6 casualties per year. Over 85% of the risk comes from SpaceX launches. MIT Technology Review calculated that the risk of human death or injury from falling space debris could reach 10% per year by 2035. 1 in 10 chance every year that someone dies. And the probability of debris downing a commercial aircraft? The FAA said 7 in 10,000 per year by 2035. Your plane falling out of the sky because of satellite junk. How did SpaceX respond to the FAA's report? They, quote, forcefully rejected it. They called it wrong, and then they threatened to sue. The FAA did fine SpaceX $63,000 for launch violations, $633,000. For a company launching rockets every other day, that's not a fine, that's a parking ticket. The EPA investigated SpaceX Starbase facility for environmental violations. The Texas Environmental Agency investigated too. No meaningful penalties, no enforcement. Nothing changed. The regulatory framework for space is from the 1960s. The Outer Space Treaty, written when governments ran space programs, not billionaires with 10,000 satellites and a Messiah complex. Let me give you a sense of the scale here. In 2025, SpaceX launched 165 Falcon 9 missions. 165 launches in 1 year. That's one every 2 to 3 days. They account for over 60% of all orbital launches worldwide. They currently have 10 T96 satellites in orbit. They want up to 42,000. Each one will eventually come down, burning through the atmosphere, depositing aluminum and lithium, and who knows what else. Spectrum reported that satellite re-entry creates toxic aluminum ash. Undark reported that most rocket pollution indirectly harms the ozone layer. PARG found that SpaceX fuels produce black carbon, soot, and other pollutants. The moon now has approximately 3,000 human-made objects on it. Total weight, 209 tons. We are littering another celestial body, and the media can't be bothered to mention it for more than a news cycle. In May 2026, Jacobin published an article titled "Celebrity Culture is Swallowing the News Media." They wrote that legacy news outlets are filling their feeds with celebrity heart-to-hearts. Journalism that forms over fame and power rather than holding it to account. MediaPost reported that legacy news media are making celebrity proximity the centerpiece of their content strategy. They're not even pretending anymore. Celebrity gossip is the strategy. So when you wonder why you didn't hear about an 1,800-pound rocket hitting the moon, this is why. It's not an accident, it's a business model. When you litter, you get a fine. When Elon Musk crashes an 800-pound rocket into the moon, NPR calls it science. When you pollute, the EPA comes after you. When SpaceX rains aluminum ash on the ozone layer, the FCC gives them an exemption. When you break the rules, there are consequences. When SpaceX breaks the rules get rewritten, or ignored, or buried in a science section nobody reads. The FAA, the government's own agency, says his satellites will kill someone every 2 years by 2035. He called the report wrong. The government said okay and kept approving launches. 165 launches in 1 year, 10,000 satellites, 42,000 planned, zero meaningful environmental review. That's not a space program. That's a pollution machine with no off switch. They told you the satellites burn up completely. They don't. Ask the Saskatchewan farmer who found a 90-pound chunk of SpaceX in his wheat field. They crashed debris into a Polish warehouse. They polluted the upper atmosphere with lithium. They're littering the moon with 209 tons of junk. And the media gave it less coverage than one man's personal crisis. This isn't about SpaceX being good or bad at rockets. They're very good at rockets. That's not the point. The point is that no entity, no company, no billionaire should be above accountability. The media won't hold them accountable because clicks matter more than consequences. The government won't hold them accountable because the rules are from 1967 and nobody wants to update them. So I'll ask you this. If a billionaire can crash a rocket into the moon, rain toxic metals into the atmosphere, drop debris on 2 different countries, and the FAA says people will die, and nothing happens, what exactly does someone have to do before anyone in power says enough? If you want more content like this, hit subscribe and ring the bell. Like this video so more people see it, and tell me in the comments, what's the biggest story the media buried this week? Every source I cited is linked in the description. Verify everything. Don't trust me. Trust the receipts. I'm Sarah, and they're lying to you. Take care of each other.